Alrighty, so I have found an interesting little piece of information on the web, and it is talk outline number 181. It's the outline for the special talk this year. What's the title of the special talk? Is it later than you think? Wow. Let's see how this talk's going to break down. 4 minutes will be spent on, tell us, when will these things be? 11 minutes will be spent on the sign of the last days. And oh, how loving, 15 minutes, half the talk, will be spent on helping inactive ones return to the shepherd of their souls. Let's see, can't do too much more from this. Don't want to go and get sued the way WatchtowerCommons.com got sued for revealing a talk outline. So what will I share? Just enough to fall under the Fair Use Act, okay? What do you think? Are we really living in the last days? Never before have these features been as prominent as they are now. The facts prove that it is much later than most people think. Talk outline number 181. Very interesting. Is it later than you think? I would like to take the older JWs on a trip down memory lane, as well as introduce to the newer generation of JWs what Awake magazines were like in the 60s, especially since your CD-ROM stops at 1970. So let me take you on a little trip down memory lane. October 8th, 1968. Awake. Is it later than you think? Is time running out for this generation? What will the 1970s bring? Show you some interesting things. Alright, I'm going to read a little bit from page 4. What does the Bible show as to the meaning of all these world events? It shows that for this unrighteous world, time is running out fast. It shows that within a few years at most, there will take place a climax in human affairs so gigantic that it will affect every person on earth, every man, woman, and child. It will without fail affect you. What is this climax? An organism. No, sorry. God himself will take a direct hand in world affairs. He will use his overwhelming power to crush wickedness and wicked people. This act of God is called Armageddon in some Bible versions. I can't actually picture somebody having a mental orgasm over all this fervor. But anyway, here. So what is this world coming to? The Bible answers, the world is passing away, and so is its desire. But he that does the will of God remains forever. Yes, this violent, crime-ridden, war-torn world is coming to its end! Exclamation mark. Time is fast running out for it! Exclamation mark. It is much later for this world than you may think! Exclamation mark. Indeed, it has only a few more years of existence left! Exclamation mark. Page 4 mentioned that twice. A few more years at most. Only a few more years of existence left. Only a few more years? What year was this written? 1968. What year could they possibly have been trying to put into people's minds? Okie dokie, let's look at page 7. How do we know we're in the last days? You know what? JWs back then really knew how to do things, and they were awesome. Page 7. The events that Jesus, the Apostle Paul, and other Bible writers bring to our attention were all to take place within the same generation. Page 13. What will the 1970s bring? The fact that 54 years of the period called the last days have already gone by is highly significant. What year is this? Yeah, okay. So here they were 54 years later after 1914. So let me read this again. The fact that 54 years of the period called the last days have already gone by is highly significant. It means that only a few years at most remain before the corrupt system of things dominating the earth is destroyed by God. How can we be so certain of this? One way is by noting what Jesus said when he gave his great prophecy about the last days. After he listed the many events that would mark this period, he also stated, "Truly I say to you, that this generation will by no means pass away until all these things occur." Jesus was obviously speaking about those who were old enough to witness with understanding what took place when the last days began. Remember what your understanding of the generation is now. Okay? Just keep that in mind. Let me read this again. Jesus was obviously speaking about those who were old enough to witness with understanding what took place when the last days began. Jesus was saying that some of those persons who were alive at the appearance of the sign of the last days would still be alive when God brought the system to its end. The Watchtower Bible Tract Society's writer said, Jesus was obviously speaking about those who were old enough to witness with understanding. It's italicized. I gotta show this to you. Ooh, I wish my hands could stop shaking. I'm gonna put a link to this 1968 Awake, okay? In my information. Okay. Even if we presume that youngsters 15 years of age would be perceptive enough to realize the import of what happened in 1914, it would still make the youngest of this generation nearly 70 years old today. So the great majority of the generation to which Jesus was referring has already passed away in death. The remaining ones are approaching old age. And remember, Jesus said that the end of this wicked world would come before that generation passed away in death. This of itself tells us that the years left before the foretold end comes cannot be many. Just 44 years. Let's see. Page 14. 6,000 years nearing completion. And I've got a little chart here, right? I mean, a little thing here to do this math to get to 1968. I'm going to read a paragraph that comes right under that. Does this mean that the above evidence positively points to 1975 as the time for the complete end of the system of things? Since the Bible does not specifically state this, no man can say. The Bible doesn't say 1975, so no man can say. However, of this we can be sure, the 1970s will certainly see the most critical times mankind has yet known. If the 1970s should see intervention by Jehovah God to bring an end to a corrupt world drifting toward ultimate disintegration, that should surely not surprise us. I skipped over a little bit in the middle, so remember, I'm going to put the link so you guys can look it up yourselves to read the entire magazine. I'll be here all night if I read it all. What's on the next page? 6,000 years of human history ending in 1975. So they never specifically said that Armageddon would be in 1965. They're just trying to help you reach that conclusion, so that later on they can say that Jehovah's Witnesses as individuals within the congregations got carried away about 1975. The society never said definitely 1975. They just put the idea in your head. Page 23. Look at this. A time to lift up your head in confident hope. This magazine is so jam-packed with hysteria. It's just like, oh my gosh, I can see why witnesses were just going crazy. I mean, quitting school, going out to pioneer, selling their homes, getting rid of like high-paying jobs. I mean, this magazine would have made me do the same thing. Page 23. Still, some persons may say, how can you be sure? Maybe it is later than many people think. But maybe it's not as late as some persons claim. People have been mistaken about these prophecies before. The difference? True, there have been those in times past who predicted an end to the world, even announcing a specific date. They are so freaking bold, aren't they? Some have gathered groups of people with them and fled to the hills or withdrawn into their houses waiting for the end. Oh yeah, so Jehovah's Witnesses didn't do any of that, so it's not, they can't be talking about Jehovah's Witnesses. Yet nothing happened. The end did not come. They were guilty of false prophesying. Why? What was missing? Missing was the full measure of evidence required in fulfillment of Bible prophecy. Missing from such people were God's truths and the evidence that He was guiding and using them. But what about today? Today we have the evidence required, all of it, and it is overwhelming. All the many, many parts of the great sign of the last days are here, together with verifying Bible chronology. We never said 1975. We just wanted you to come to that conclusion all on your own. Okay. Page 26. The time remaining for a decision is short. The opportunity is still before you for 44 more years. Page 27. Let's see what will it cost you. Like a train about to plunge into an abyss, the system of things is about to plunge into destruction. Time is fast running out for it. I mean, remember, they said that the other people who prophesied things were missing the full measure of evidence. But they said they have all of it required. So, let me read this again. Like a train about to plunge into an abyss, this system of things is about to plunge into destruction. Time is fast running out for it. If you had the right opportunity to jump from a train that was heading for certain destruction, would you not do so? True, it might cost you a severe bruising. You might leave behind some of your possessions and the people on the train, but you would save your life. What will it cost you to have the hope of living through the end of this wicked system of things? What will you have to pay to gain life in God's new order? Oh, there's even a picture to kind of help emphasize this. The year 1914, the turning point. 1914, last days began. Look, the train, the system of things, Armageddon. Yeah, this is all in one magazine. I can see why so many JWs stopped their schooling and just started pioneering back then. No time to lose. The end of this wicked system is approaching rapidly. It is much later than most people realize. Hence, there is no time to lose in working for survival. But when this was written, you still had 44 more years. So definitely, in light of your special talk this year, remember, I've got a link there. If for some reason that link gets shut down, Watchtower goes after it, private message me. I will send you a PDF, and I promise not to say a word. I will just get your email. I will send you the PDF, and that is it. I will not witness. I will not say a thing. I will just send you the PDF to the 1968 away if the link gets shut down so that you can see this for yourself.